Hello, my name is Sarah Hine and I am a counselor at Prairie State College and the transfer coordinator for our students to assist you going on for your bachelor's degree after Prairie State. Today I am going through the basic process of admissions that most universities follow. There are four main categories of items that are required for almost all applications. The first three are on this page and the fourth one gets its own slide next. First, the application. Most universities use online applications which you access on their admissions website. You create a free login, go in, start entering your information, and you can almost always save that information and come back to it later before you submit it and make it official. I always highly recommend getting into that as soon as you can and looking ahead so you can see all of the information that they're going to require. Number two, official college transcripts. It is also common process that every university will require you to send official transcripts from each college you have attended. If you have attended more than one college, you will need to notify each of them and submit the information, pay any relevant fees to have their transcripts sent to the school that you are applying to. Number three, official high school transcripts. It is also common process to have official high school transcripts required before your application can be reviewed. If you have at least 24 or more college credits completed at the time of your application to the universities do not typically review the high school transcript to determine whether they are going to let you into the school or not, but rather require the transcript as part of the documentation that is needed for your future student record. You will want to contact your high school directly and provide the information of where the transcripts need to be sent and pay any relevant fees. I have posted in the notes below how to request a transcript from Prairie State. Number four, application fee or fee waiver. Many schools require application fees or verification of a fee waiver that you meet certain qualifications so that you do not have to pay the fee. Some schools do not require fees, and if you look on their website trying to find information about a fee, you will not find it. If there is ever any doubt, it is good practice for you to contact the admissions office at the university and ask them directly. Application fee waivers are usually either a form posted on the university's admissions webpage, or sometimes it is notes inside the online application and where the process is outlined. Fee waivers are usually income-based, and they usually require verification that your expected family contribution, or EFC, on the FAFSA is at $0 or below a certain amount. If you are applying to a school that requires your EFC to be verified, you will want to contact the Prairie State College Financial Aid Office at financial-aid@prairiestate.edu. If you meet that qualification, then they can assist you with completing the form. I have posted below links to commonly requested waivers for popular universities that Prairie State College students like to transfer to. Some schools do not have their own application fee waiver and instead note that you can use your school's waiver form or another waiver form. In this situation, I recommend that you use the NACAC Transfer Application Fee Waiver. If you search those words on Google, you should be able to pull up a 2-page document which you print out, sign, verifying that you meet those certain criteria, and then send in to the college. If you have any doubt about the process, it's always best practice for you to contact the university's admissions office directly and discuss your situation with them. Sometimes students do not qualify for the waiver through the traditional manner, but the school is willing to waive them if you go on a campus visit or speak with an admissions officer when they're visiting Prairie State's campus, or sometimes there are other times they waive fees. Definitely check that out. Other aspects of university applications that are commonly required, though not always required, are essays or personal statements. Some schools require that of everyone, a general one. Some schools do not require it, but their majors, specific majors, might require it. This is usually when the school or the major has limited spots, and that essay is really vital in making you the person who's more competitive than the other applicants. Essays typically have a 500 to 650 word limit, and it's always best to go into the university's application and see their exact questions that they are asking so that you are modifying your essay to be exactly what they're asking for. However, if you want to prepare ahead of time before you have certain schools in mind, they typically want to know why you are applying to that particular university, why that's a priority for you to go to their school, and or why you are applying for the major or want to enter into the career that you're planning to go into. The second item that is not always required, but sometimes required, and especially when a school has limited spots or the major has limited spots, are letters of recommendation or reference letters. The questions and the information that universities want to gather in these letters are always biased towards the sort of information that your professors know about you and or your work supervisors. They want to know your promise in your future field, your career choice. They want to know what kind of student you'll be because they want to prioritize the best students. So you want to prioritize asking someone who can answer those questions, who's going to answer them very well on your behalf. They're a good writer, they meet the deadlines, and they're motivated to write the best letter that they can for you. So I always recommend get to know your professors from day one of your first semester and continue to stay in contact with them each semester. Keep working with your professors so that you have a good pool of people to ask when you do need those letters of recommendation. When the time comes to actually ask someone for a letter of reference, be sure to ask before you list them as a letter of reference, because if they do not submit it, your application will not be reviewed if it's required. It is best practice to ask a person at least 1 month before the deadline that they have to submit the letter so that they have time to work on it. When you're asking them, I recommend that you provide them with a list of your accomplishments. If you have a resume, to include that as well. Even if they know you really well, they usually learn a lot more about you when they look at your list of accomplishments and resumes, and that can turn into a much better reference letter. When you're asking, and before you ask a professor to do a letter of reference, find out if it's a specific form they need to fill out or a general letter, if the form is emailed or mailed, and the general process, which you would want to inquire with the school with the information posted online at the school you are applying to. Also, going back to essays and personal statements, the Prairie State College Writing Center is available as a free resource for students to go over your essays and personal statements. What you would want to do is write out a draft, bring in the actual question that you're answering for the university, schedule ahead of time for an appointment. They do half-hour appointments, and you can schedule up to one each day. Check out their website, prairiestate.edu/writing center, to schedule an in-person or online meeting. Deadlines. There are different kinds of deadlines, and all of them are important. The application deadline is the deadline to fill out the actual application. Some schools have things called rolling deadlines, which means they do not publish one specific hard and fast deadline. and they will keep taking students up until classes begin or close to that. So if you do not see application deadlines listed on the website of the admissions office of the university you're going to, call their admissions office to make sure that you're not missing any deadlines and to find out if it's a rolling deadline. Supplemental documents deadlines. Some schools use the same deadline for the application and the supplemental documents, and some have an earlier deadline for the application and a later deadline for the supplemental documents. Supplemental documents typically include your high school and college transcripts, letters of recommendation. The essay and the personal statement is usually part of the application, so it will be part of the earlier deadline if they have different deadlines. This varies by school. You'll want to consult their admissions website and their admissions officers if you have questions about that. Final deadline that is just as important is the financial aid deadline. Most universities have a financial aid deadline in February or March for students that want to start that next August for the fall semester. However, as a student in Illinois, there is an extra benefit to be sure that you are filing your FAFSA every year right when the application opens up, which is October 1st. It will open up for the school year that begins the next August. The reason you have a benefit for this is that the state of Illinois has extra grant funds for Illinois residents called the MAP grant, but it's limited funds. So the students who are eligible for the MAP grant need to apply as early as possible so that they will get the MAP funds, as opposed to students who apply later who were eligible but the funds ran out, they will not get the MAP grant. Financial aid is a very complicated topic, and Prairie State's Financial Aid Office is full of experts that can help you, and you can reach them at financial-aid@prairiestate.edu. Another really great resource is the Illinois Student Assistance Commission, which is reached at the website isac.org. It is a nonprofit institution that is funded by state taxpayer money, and it is completely devoted to helping you better understand how to pay for college. Finally, a few extra notes with the more competitive schools or majors. The more competitive a school or major is, or the more limited spots, if they get more applicants than the number of people they can accept, the more rules they tend to have. Their admissions deadlines tend to be earlier. For example, if you're a nursing major, you usually have to get all your documents in, the application and everything in by January to start the next August. Other majors, for a non-competitive school, you might be able to be applying in July for the next August, though I don't recommend that. That causes a lot of extra stress. It's usually really great to be planning to do your applications in January and February to start the next August at a university for all schools. If a school is more competitive or the major at the school is more competitive and has limited spots, they are more likely to have a second application in addition to the university application. They often call it a supplemental application. So if you're applying to a school like UIC for nursing, you may have to apply both to the university and also a second application with more information for the nursing major. I already mentioned the earlier deadlines, and another note is some majors require specialized testing before your admissions application process is fully completed. Nursing is another great example there. Almost every college and university requires HESI or TEAS testing as part of the application process that needs to be done very early to be considered to start sometimes 6 months or more later. Finally, here's my contact information. I welcome questions. I do plan to post more information, so check back on the website and on campus for events in the future.